Welcome to Follow Your Joy podcast, where intuition is the doorway to your elevated creativity, more joy, and prosperity. I'm your host, Marla Diane, and I've been living an intuitive life for decades as a creative. That translates to transforming creative entrepreneurs' lives for over 27 years through two businesses as a business strategist and a life designer. And prior to that, an entertainment publicist and talent manager. Follow Your Joy is an entrepreneurial resource for creatives sharing their challenge to victory stories through the lens of listening to their intuition. It's time to make joy your inner GPS for life and business decisions rather than lean on your logic and reason first. You'll not only be following what is most authentic for you, but you will live the beautiful life meant just for you. Want to learn how to access, trust, or up-level your intuition? Join me in the conversation to find out how. Well, Happy New Year, creatives. Whew, here we are. It's 2025. How does that feel to you? I'm sure it's a range of emotions, like me, but I'm leaning more towards excitement and wonder and anticipation of great things. Yeah. This is what I am committed to in 2025, which started about a week ago during the holiday break, and see how this relates to you. So after 16 years in coaching, I've chosen to really kind of hunker down really deeply on being aware of what I think and what I say. When I say or think something that's coming from not having what I want, I'm actually prescribing my future to be the same, but no more. Out of a refined self-love, I'm now describing my present as what I desire and want to manifest. That feeds the power of my subconscious. And I'm making sure my thoughts and my beliefs are working for me, not against me. So, for example, however you choose to take an action and move the needle on your life and or your business in 2025, you must always think and feel, right, while making the decision from where you desire to be, not where you are now, financially, spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally, right? So think and feel, right, while you're making the decision, okay, that desire, right, is already complete. Right? And you're coming from a place of self-love. And hang on, I'm explaining more. So your current observation, right, what you're witnessing right now in your life is from past choices. So instead, hold strong in seeing, believing, and feeling from your evolved self and how you think, talk, and act as the empowered person that you imagine. This is embodiment. And I aspire for you to make those decisions intuitively beyond your logic and your intellect to succeed in your own unique way. And how this plays out in my own life, for example, I have never made a decision to up-level me personally or my business over the last 16 years from looking at my bank account to see what's available for hiring a mentor and what are my current results in my life, other than intuitively knowing it's time to level up and grow. All right. I've always made a high-level decision from what felt aligned, right, and where I wanted to be, and trusted that the funds would be there as I took an action on faith. And out of self-love, I chose to invest in myself and business via a 12-month high-level coach and mastermind a week ago as an integrity move towards my elevated self, right, my new identity, and my 2025 desires and goals. Was that unnerving, right? Requiring me to take a deep breath as I hit the enroll button on the page? Oh yeah, 100%. It's the highest investment I've made on me and my business. Yet I have no doubt that this is the level that will catapult me and my impact on humanity, and of course, my financial rewards. This action was long in coming. Now it's your turn. I want to talk to you soul to soul, spirit to spirit. I want to talk to you about what you want and help you achieve it. I want you to own your personal power. So what is that? Unconditional self-love, unwavering confidence in the face of adversity, uncertainty, committed use of your intuition to lead the way with support of your logic and intellect to move that guidance into action. Right? Personal power is also believing you're a spiritual, energetic powerhouse having a human experience. And personal power is impact for the greater good, just to name a few. So you'll find the link in the show notes to schedule your 2025 personal power call with me. Go ahead, it's down below, and I'm more than delighted to have a chat with you. So let's talk about a key part to your personal power. When you believe to be true, and that is, what you believe to be true will be your truth. So what you believe to be true will be your truth. Well, let's have those beliefs work for you, not against you. I've been in deep self-study, as I mentioned, since June, and the core of the study is really focused on self-love. Up until recently, I understood the definition of self-love. Sure, I got the gist of it, prior to this deep study. I knew and I did my best with my self-care, my boundaries, decisions, doing things that are out of dignity and what I desired. To me, that was self-love. But now it's very different. Higher level self-love comes from my heart, not my logic and my reasoning. In other words, in my head, in my brain. Instead, self-love is from my intuition, and that self-love literally encompasses my whole life. I'm now embodying self-love instead of living in my head about it. I'm now acting and making decisions from the woman I want as my next version, right? And that requires making all my choices from the lens of self-love. So what does that mean? Well, every thought I choose and belief I have, I'm syncing with my subconscious. In this way, what I do is I say or write out a goal, a task, a vision, and begin it with, out of self-love, I fill in the blank. So when I make my daily schedule, I'm writing or typing on the document. Out of self-love, I'm making that call to that person I've wanted to mentor for over a year. Out of self-love, I'm staying focused on only 3 high payoff activities in one day rather than try to add more. Out of self-love, I do the hard things that once kept me stuck and in resistance. Out of self-love, I hold the belief without a doubt that I am being abundantly rewarded financially for my work in the world. Out of self-love, I keep my commitment, right, to 3 times a week in the gym. Out of self-love, I eat healthy food and I drink water way more often. Out of self-love, I say no to things I used to say yes to. Out of self-love, I only date men who are high value. Out of self-love, I follow my team's expertise and allow them to do more by taking more things off my plate. Out of self-love, I put vacations, retreats, weekend getaways, fun, and adventure on my calendar while planning my year. And then I plan my business work and focus around that. That's how I create a business around my lifestyle. And out of self-love, I revise my ideal work week to shorten my work time by stopping over delivering. Out of self-love, I give myself plenty of rest and time for sacred time in the morning, which includes self-study, subconscious work, journaling, and walking my dog Ruby. And out of self-love, I stop overworking. So where am I going with this? This is a whole new level of integration and helping you understand how you embody a new identity rather than just let it live in your head like knowledge. Not until I was composing the content for today did I realize I have done embodiment before during a very pivotal time in my life. What I was just sharing, about out of self-love and my actions, it reminded me of when I was standing at the Florence, Italy train station, Santa Maria Novella, in August 2017. And on my way to Rome, I was literally on my way to Rome to fly home the next day, after a month-long stay in Florence that changed my life forever. I stood there while watching the train and I prayed to God, please help me integrate the new evolved me into my old life back at home. I want to live like an Italian in the quality way that I did here, and live as the woman I've become who loves life and herself again. 5 months later, after I arrived back home from that very first trip to Italy, with that intention of integrating, of embodying, I did do it. I embodied the new identity. My life, surroundings, friends, income, clients, business, and my brand all evolved and changed. So ask yourself, what are the traits of your new identity for 2025? In your quiet moments of contemplation, who is that elevated self you've aspired for months, I don't know, maybe years? Here are a few helpful steps to get started. You might want to either re-listen to this part if you're driving or walking, or take some notes while you're sitting here. And that is this: begin a list, in a journal or your favorite writing space, all the traits and the qualities of your new identity. In other words, again, your evolved, elevated self. Who are you as that embodied new woman or man? How do you respond to fill in the blank? How do you feel about yourself most often? How do you take action on your health and your fitness? How do you feel, act, and think about money? What actions do you take to invest in yourself for your personal and business growth? What habits do you live by as this new identity? How about how do you interact with others in that new identity? How do you act confidently? How does that feel in your body when you're acting in that new confident way? How do you carry yourself? How does it feel to be in your personal power? As that new identity? How does self-love play out in your life in that elevated self? How do you feel about your ability to achieve your dreams? Abundance, how does it look and feel like living in overflow most of the time. How about how do you treat yourself while doing your job, your career, your business, your personal interests? What is your new identity's tolerance, right? And tolerance level to stress and the way people treat you. This is then the start of your change in consciousness, and it's moment by moment. Because what you're doing here is you're studying you, you're observing, you're witnessing without judgment. Promise me, don't allow that beautiful brain of yours to go into critical mode. Because remember, our brains are literally a recording machine. It's only meant, right, to be thinking from the past, never the future. So it's always going to be critical. Be very, very, right, watchful of that. So you're observing you in the first stage of identifying your traits, and you're witnessing without judgment. And then you're adding to your list. Okay. So what you want to do as well is you want to catch yourself in a situation that has not worked many times, but you keep operating the same way, hoping things will change. Guilty. I've done it. This is a new identity trait that you want to be aware of, that you want to then turn that behavior, that mindset, that approach to a new trait. And catch yourself in the middle of doing something that hasn't worked for you, right? How you've thought, how you've approached, how you've made a decision, how you've acted, and you know it's not going to work, but out of habit, you're doing it. There, right there, is one of your traits that you want to flip to how do you prefer, how do you want to be, right, responding in that situation. Or catch yourself in a situation that causes you to say, oh, that's not in my budget, or I don't want to spend that much. Instead, say to yourself, oh, I'm open to having that. Right? See the message and the consciousness that you're sending out to the universe. Very different intention and vibration. The most important next step, of course, is then embody these traits by being courageous and acting in that way. Right? So I was giving you examples of out of self-love, this is what I will do. Right? That's how I'm choosing each day to embody what I desire to be and who I desire to be. So let's see, another example, if a new identity trait is speaking your truth and boundaries in a loving way rather than a demanding way, right? Start acting like that, right? Who are you in your new identity while in conversation with that person? Put it into action, be that, do that, you know? Okay, so there is a wonderful, as far as I am in belief of, a wonderful way to begin 2025 is look at what is that next version of you, that new identity of you, that you know is going to feel better, that you know is going to help create better results, that you know is that next identity that's meant for you. Yeah. Okay, so how about let's do this. Let's move into now. Let's move into what's coming up in the first half of 2025 for the podcast. I'm very excited about the guests that I'm bringing you and how we can partner together where I serve you my passion, right, and my love of transformation. I would love to have a conversation with you. So remember, the link is in the show notes to schedule that personal power call. So here's a list of podcast guests coming up soon to your Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, iHeart, and YouTube. We have Scott Sabin, CEO of the faith-based nonprofit organization Plant with Purpose. And one of his committed longtime volunteers, Kathy Kellogg Johnson. Plant with Purpose operates long-term community-driven programs with local partners in 9 countries. Since its founding 40 years ago, Plant with Purpose has partnered with farmers in 1,650 communities to plant 73 million trees, while dramatically reducing poverty in their watersheds. This is a deeply moving interview. It's something I can guarantee many of you will not even know and understand the impact that planting trees does for economies, for the well-being, right, of various communities, especially third world countries. Okay, Salima Yakubi, she's whose current career chose her through a crisis that became her calling. It's an incredible story, right, of how this executive coach from Casablanca, right, Morocco, who resides in Los Angeles, incredible story how she guides CEOs and family offices to build meaningful legacies. But how she got there and her crisis is what you really want to hear. So that's coming up soon. Another one is a bucket list guest I have been desiring since inception, right? Of Follow Your Joy. And that is Disney animator, Hollywood producer, filmmaker, inspirational global keynote speaker, and podcast host, Saul Blinkoff. Saul has worked on animated films and TV shows for over 20 years with Disney, DreamWorks, Netflix, and Amazon, among many others. His story, right, is how he began his career at Disney in their animation internship program and how he got there and how much of a challenge it was for him to keep hold and belief in his dream. His story is incredibly moving and inspirational. Definitely don't want to miss that one. That's coming up soon. I also have Reagan Thompson. She's a global healer and transformational coach, and she's dedicated over 20 years to spiritual healing, guiding thousands on their path to deeper connection and their purpose. She does gatherings, monthly meditations, and teachings, and she creates space for personal transformation and collective healing. She also focuses on climate action, merging spiritual awareness with global activism. Real powerhouse. You'll love how her intuition led her to this path from her own healing. And then I have Christy Flynn. She's a former client from 2014. It was 10 years ago. We reconnected on LinkedIn and caught up, and wow, what a change from 10 years ago. It's a fascinating story how she went from a health coach, which is what she was when I mentored her, to honoring her psychic abilities to become a medium. As a psychic, she mentally senses things, right? She sees, feels, hears, and knows, and directs, right, people towards their, right, animal soul energy, right, or the person's soul energy. She provides insights into her clients' past, present, and future experiences around career, work, purpose, community, love, relationships, health, finances, intuitive development, and so much more in their business. Very, very exciting. In fact, I have a session with her in January that I'm really, really looking forward to. All right, so here are just a highlight of a few guests coming up. Definitely don't want you to miss any of these. Make sure that you circle back, right, to the podcast. This is January through March. I think these are some of the guests coming up. So in 2025, let's see how we can partner together. I'll be having a big announcement soon as to my new brand and a whole new way of serving you under the umbrella of, drumroll, the Visionary Academy. This came by way of the deep self-study I explained today, and I'm very, very excited to roll this out. You'll soon be seeing Marla Diane as creator, actualizer, head dream maker, and energy master of Visionary Academy. I'll still be a keynote speaker, intuitive business strategist, right? Life designer and creator of Creative Achievement Formula, but delivered in a whole new way. So, what are your options to participate with me? Well, January 15th begins the Create cohort. That's my signature women's cohort, and we're closing registration around January 10th. So use the link below for details. We have a few spots available. And I'll be sending out orientation packets for the kickoff right next week. So make a quick decision, and if you want to have a chat, be more than happy to do that. Soon after, you will see information about an exciting joint venture with two amazing women in my life, Laura Weintraub and Ashley Rivera. The three of us have produced a women's speaking workshop in Newport Beach scheduled for April 3. It's called Your Voice Matters, Setting the Stage for Impacting Humanity. This is open to all high-value women who know they have a calling for public speaking and leading change. Laura, Ashley, and I are deeply passionate about public speaking to help transform lives through storytelling and education. So mark your calendars, right? You'll be joining us April 3 from 9 to 5 at the Hyatt Regency in Newport Beach. And we have wonderful connection, masterminding, lunch, breakfast, lunch, you name it. Registration page, it'll be open later this month. All right. And then lastly, I have openings for 4-month one-on-one high-level mentorships. That requires an application and a conversation. I can see the links below, and we can get you set up for that. The mentorship is for either designing your next chapter, right, and new identity, or your desired up level in your current business in my Visionary Entrepreneur Coaching, which takes you to the next level of revenues and lasting change as you make an elevated impact on your clients. All right, so it's a lot to cover in this one, but it's like January 1st. Wanted to make sure you had everything, right, that was important to know going forward. So in closing, right, remember the through line in manifesting your desires and goals for 2025 is self-love. I encourage you to use my out of self-love, I am doing, moving to, letting go of, focusing, etc. When you use that, it's a game changer on every level. So wishing you a blessed new year, and let's make this the best year yet. I'm intending that for all of us. Take care. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening. You can find more entrepreneurial stories and resources at marladiane.com. And while you're there, enjoy my free downloads to up-level your business and your life. And Instagram. It's my favorite place to hang out. Let's connect there. If you received inspiration from the episode, I'd sure appreciate a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Until next episode, take care.